Part 2. What is the climax of the novel?
Um, okay, in this novel, the climax is when we see a major change in Montag and when he finally snaps and breaks. So this is when he's caught of having books in his house and his fire captain goes to his house with the intent to raid it and burn it. So the climax is when he's ordered to burn down his own house, which he does. Then, right after he's told to burn down his own house, he turns and he kills his fire captain by burning him with a flamethrower. So that would be the climax of the book because we don't expect that out of Montag. He seems like a normal, quiet individual up until that point when he finally snaps and does something for himself.
Why do you think a book this old is still popular and relevant today?
I think if a book is this old and it's still relevant today in schools and in society, is because the message that it provides is an important one and a timeless one. And that is the case with this book. The message that it puts forward is not only was it important back then when the book was wrote, but it's also important today. And that's about the censorship of information by people like the government. So it was hypothetically going on back then in this dystopian society, but it's also going on today with governments around the world who are withholding things from their people and they're controlling their people and hiding things. So yeah, I believe the book is relevant today because of the message it holds.
Give me a summary of the plot of the novel.
Okay, in short, this novel starts off, it's a perfect world, lays the scene, a perfect protagonist, Montag, with a wife. They seem happy together, they have a nice home, they live in a good neighborhood, he has a good job, which at the beginning he likes, he seems into his job, he's enjoying it, and he is a fireman who burns books, but then the novel goes on and there are some triggers of change, like Clarisse, the young girl who moves in on Montag Street and is the first person to make him question things, and she pushes him to think more about the life he's living in. Is he really happy? So as this progresses, different things like Clarisse talking to Montag, and Montag's wife Mildred, Montag's wife, her attempted suicide, different things like this are triggers for change for Montag. And what they do is they make him realize that he's not happy with his job and his life and what he's doing, so he decides to change it. And the way he changes it is by pursuing books, looking into books and the information they hold, which is illegal, but that's what he does. He burns books, but in this instance he starts reading them and the knowledge they possess, and he finds this is the substance he's been missing in his life. So, as the book continues, he ends up getting caught for these books that he's stealing and hoarding and reading, and he ends up being caught by his boss, Fire Captain Beatty, who orders him to burn down his own house and burn all the books inside, which he does, and his wife ends up leaving him, and the little girl Clarisse, she ends up killed by a car accident, and all these things start happening to Montag. And what happens is it causes him to break and snap, and he fights back, he kills his fire captain, and he runs away. And what he does is, he leaves the city and escapes. And just after he does this, the city's actually bombed by fighter jets, and the whole city is destroyed. So then, near the end of the book, Montag finds a group of hitchhikers who have been living in the wilderness, reading books, and what they do is they preserve the information books hold, and the book ends off where Montag is continuing with this society of new people, basically to rebuild society with books included in their knowledge. So yeah, that's how the book ends. So it goes from him being this happy guy who seems to have it all, but really, when he thinks deeper, he doesn't, and he realizes how miserable he is, and with those triggers of change, it changes his perspective on life, and he takes considerable action to change things, and near the end of the book, it's somewhat optimistic, but yet sad because of the destruction of the city, but it's optimistic for what the future holds and what they can build with books included. Thanks.